we turn to schools. A very emotional issue in our state, protecting our kids. And we already talked about protecting our kids, knowing where sex offenders are in our neighborhoods. And we realize that we have cameras in a lot of our schools, K through 12, schools around the state. So the governor comes to me and he says, hey, look, I'm worried about safety in our schools. He said, how much would it cost if we got a police officer and hired a police officer for every school in the state? We have over 1,500 schools. It was $50-something million to hire a police officer who would be there from early in the morning until the kids get out of school. We can't afford $50 million. So what already exists in the schools? A lot of schools have cameras already there. So we went back to the governor and said, what if we use technology and not people to help look at school safety? We initially went to our universities. We'll show it when he gets finished. We initially went to our universities and we started talking about what's important as it relates to school safety. Well, how about floor plans? Wouldn't a first responder want to see a floor plan before he entered a school? You do how the building was laid out. Because we've had a rash of shootings in our country, particularly at universities. A couple that have been very, very, very tragic. So if a first responder has the ability to see a floor plan for a building, that would help. If a first responder had the ability to know where all of the hazardous materials are inside of a building that had the potential to explode, that would help. What if a first responder had the ability to access any of the internet-based cameras that existed in or around the school, and rather than put a first responder in harm's way, what if he could see into the building to see what's going on before he entered? That would help. And we can do all of this stuff with existing things that we have. So we went to the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Are you about there, Norman?
Yeah.
Scroll on it, going into UAH. We'll go straight to UAH. There it is. All right. Now, we're going to go to one of our universities, University of Alabama at Huntsville. It's not nearly as large as this university. This is a big place. 41,000 students here, Lavelle University. You know, the University of Alabama has maybe 20,000. They got a really good football team, but they only have 20,000 students. Now, the students at the University of Alabama Huntsville actually 3D modeled these buildings out for us. We didn't do it. They did it. See, so we're taking advantage. We've got some schools where the 8th grade students are 3D modeled buildings out. So we're getting everybody involved in this project. Now, if you're a GIS person, you love that. You love that because you're no longer sitting in your little dark closet with nobody knowing what you do. You've got people contributing to the process, helping you out. So the students do this. So give me the floor plan, Norman, on the research hall. All right. Okay, so now a first responder has the ability to see a floor plan. Click on the hazardous material. All right, we know that we got gas and stuff. They stick camera. Click on that camera. Go ahead and go inside there, Norman. We're going to look inside real time right now what's going on in this hallway at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Now, I got to tell you, Alabama students are pretty conscientious, so they're probably going to be in class. You get an empty hallway. But what's neat about this is that this camera has what they call the fourth dimension of time. In other words, what you may see is an empty hallway, but at some time a mugging or some kind of crime can be committed within camera view, and we can go back days, weeks, months, and have a record of that crime occurring. It's within the camera view. And there's not a police investigator that I know that would like to have video image of a crime being committed. Not only to catch the perpetrator, to use it in the prosecution. Okay, see, I told you, these Alabama kids are all in class. See? But you can see the scroll at the bottom. We're in real time this morning. So, we're using cameras, tracking traffic. We've got before and after pictures of disasters. We're doing 3D modeling. We're doing all sorts of things that really helps my first responder community. And all of this stuff's being loaded by them, not by me or my staff. They're doing this stuff. And we've given it to them for free. So you can see how it starts to create this energy around our state. So, show me the student concentration thing one time. time over. The other thing that is more important to colleges or universities than maybe high schools or elementary schools is student concentration. So the educators do this. So we had a shooting at a university called Virginia Tech. Are you all familiar with the Virginia Tech shooting a couple years ago? This young man locks himself in a building and goes on a shooting rampage, kills 30-something people. So if you're a first responder and you enter a building, there are a lot of classrooms in college, but not all the classrooms are used at the same time. So what we've been able to do is the educators will populate on Thursday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. These are the only classes that have kids in them. And then we can show you at the bottom what the concentration is, how many kids are probably in each classroom. So if you're thinking like a first responder, this gives you pretty useful information. If seconds save lives, I don't have to kick in doors to empty classrooms. I go where the kids are, and I try to make a difference. So this is how we're using technology to do this sort of stuff. So we've taken all this, and the governor says, hey, before we leave office, I want you to have all the school safety stuff for all 1,500 schools in the state. And so we're doing that as I speak. I've got teams right now all over Alabama loading information. I'm going to show you an example of just one. Go to Bucknell High School for me. I'm going to show you a high school up in North Alabama that had some computer-assisted imagery that we were able to load to the school. And we sat down with school officials and we said, hey, what's important to you? I mean, because look, it doesn't matter what I have in the state. I'm not going to solve the problem at this high school. That principal and that local fire chief and that local police, they're ones that are going to solve the problems, not me. So what do they need to know? Well, they've populated all kinds of things over here on the left-hand side, all right? You know, where the staging areas are, if students have to evacuate, what chemicals exist in the school, what cameras exist in the school, where are the utility lines, where are the fire extinguishers, all of this stuff. Now, if you're the Homeland Security Director, this is neat for me because in order for them to get this done, the local police, and the local fire, and the local emergency managers, and the local transportation people, and the local volunteers, and the teachers, the school, they all got to come together and talk. I don't know, maybe you all do this all the time in Canada, but I discovered that we weren't doing a whole lot of that stuff. But now, using a technological tool that we make it free to them, they are collaborating in a way that they've never collaborated before. I guess what are these? These are all the staging areas where the students gather. I was hoping to show you inside one of the cameras in this school in real time, classes in today, but the principal won't give me access today. This is an important point. And this was the one that was crucial to whether or not we could accomplish this particular project. But see, here's the point. See, the principals control these cameras, and they still control them. If you sign up for Virtual Alabama and you want to start loading things on there, if you don't want to share it, don't share it. You can put it all behind a firewall and nobody can access it.